So you quote, I think you quote that as being from Jewish rabbis, but I think it's also from Anselm of Canterbury, the idea of believing to understand instead of understanding to believe, which is the Western way, as opposed to the Middle Eastern way, where you believe, you taste and you see if the Lord is good, and that leads you to understanding. That's a very Jewish thing to do, right?
Oh, so, I mean, you think it goes all the way back to the call of Abram, Avram, go to a land that I will show you. His yes predicated the understanding of the journey. And I love for the Jewish people, this has helped me, I feel like in my discipleship as a follower of Jesus, but it's just helped me in life. I grew up very much being taught that the destination is the point of the journey. But for the Jewish people, the value's in the journey itself. It's in the walking, it's in halaking, the halakha. And that's opened up so much mystery to me, and a place to even shelf celebration and lament as life is happening to all of us. But this idea of I am meant to appreciate the right now presence of my community, the living God. I'm here in my city today with the things that I have going on. And I'm being invited to enjoy the journey today, regardless of the destination, regardless of where I end up. But
yeah, and because there's also that Jewish, that Middle Eastern versus Western mindset of, we think of time as linear, and
right.
Whereas in the Middle Eastern culture, I mean, I've lived it, living there for almost 10 years, it's very cyclical. So yes, obviously, time moves forward, and Scripture is very clear. There's a timeline, and eschatology is very real. However, there's also a cyclicality to it that we Westerners have forgotten, and that's where the presence of God is found as well.
That's right. And I think that linear sense of time for us as Westerners, we don't really view remembering as spiritual activity. And the way I teach it to my college students is, if you think about Western time is linear, Far Eastern time is purely cyclical in the sense of, think reincarnation or something like that. But time in the Middle East, it's almost like it's moving forward, but it loops back. And then it moves forward and it loops back and it moves forward. So it is headed somewhere. Like you said, that eschatology, the story is going somewhere, but the living God is reaching back. And I think so often to put his hands to the broken things, the marred things, the things that need healing, restoration, and renewal, and then bringing them along in the story. And don't we all want that? Like, don't you have things in your past that from time to time you're still like, Lord, I need you to go back and meet me there. I need some deeper healing in that story, that chapter of my life, and help move me forward into maturity and healing. And so if we only view time as linear, then all we can do is move forward.
Or backward.
Yes. Yeah. Or backward. But I just love that. It's almost like the flow of the ocean. Like the waves come in and then they go back, and then they come in and then they go back. And I feel that in my own life. I feel the living God walking forward with me. And I also feel him remembering with me, reaching back and pulling me forward into that redemptive story that we're told in the Bible.
And that is so hopeful, because when we find ourselves, where we started, quote unquote, well, I find myself, struggling with that same sin, or, struggling with that element from my past again, it could feel to our Western perspective that we are back to square one and we have made no progress. Whereas actually, if you think of the cyclical forwardness of God, we actually are back at the same place, but at a deeper, at a higher, at a new level. God is inviting us into a deeper level of healing, because that's how he moves. And so instead of it being defeating, it's actually so life-giving.
Absolutely. I mean, I say it all the time, and it was part of my heart even in writing Rediscovering Israel, but our stories are not going to end badly because of who the living God is.